My name is Nicolas Kelly. I'm the project coordinator for the Growers Hub here in Broadford on the Isle of Skye. So I've been with the organisation for about 9 years now, and the whole reason was to establish an allotment site for the community to use. We've got a lot of housing with very little growing space, so after a lot of community consultation, we found that there was a great need for allotment spaces and people to grow their own food. So the site sort of slowly developed into what it is today, and we'll go through that. The community company runs quite a number of projects. For example, we bought about 10 years ago the site that you can see here on the screen. We've slowly developed the Growers Hub, which is up to your top left, where all the polytunnels are. We've also created a community-owned campsite, which generates an income to cover a lot of our costs and helping smaller projects throughout the village and extra ones that we try and do ourselves. So that's the what we call the community woodlands. This is kind of summarizes what we've got just now. It's quite an old picture. But yeah, we work very closely with our local college, West Highland College. They run a sort of rural skills sort of crafting course. So they get the use of the big tunnel that you can see there. We've got a small apple orchard towards the far left tunnel. That wee section there is for our schools. So our local high school sends groups down to from Portree. It's quite a bit of a journey for them, but it's always a treat for them to come down. And then at the far back left, we've got another tunnel, and this was a COVID response during the pandemic, where we grow vegetables out of, and everything out of that tunnel goes to our local community fridge. And we have a community gardener now employed who is also helping to support that. And just at the bottom right, we've got another quite substantial tunnel, which we'll go into detail, hopefully, as if I put up right pictures up. So yeah, this is the Growers Hub, one of many high school groups. This was the site before, just after the diggers finished. It was a mud bath. A month into the job, I thought, how in God's earth is anything going to grow in this peat bog that was flooded, covered in rushes, ex-forestry land, stumps everywhere, water just wouldn't go anywhere. So yeah, there was a challenge. Compost bays. Initially, they were just for topsoil that we got donated from various sites, working sites. As you can see, the soil that we had just was completely acidic, peat. So yeah, it wasn't suitable for growing. So we've had to, instead of going down, digging down, we went upwards instead of digging down into the ground. So yeah, this site slowly started to turn into life. A lot of work went into conditioning the soil so that it was ready for growing. Lots of fun in creating all our raised beds. The site's very much different now. It's almost difficult to find new projects to keep things going, but we're almost getting to the stage where we need to go back and restart something. So there's always something to do. This particular tunnel is for what we call our Flourish project. And kind of similar to the previous talk there, we also run a mental health and well-being project, Flourish. So we designed a specific space for this to happen. It's quite small. We only maybe have a dozen to 15 coming a couple of times a week. but it's definitely an escape for many people. It's also a place where, if work's getting a wee bit stress and they're off, people pop in and just take part, whether it's weeding, watering, sowing, planting, or even just sitting having a cup of tea with everyone. But it was quite a challenge with our site. We used, obviously the project building itself was also used at the time. Again, high school groups, members of the community came and helped. But we used Woodblock X. They're based in Dingwall in the Highlands. They just won quite a prestigious award. But it's like Lego. It's incredible. And you can go online, design your own raised bed. It's really good fun to assemble. So this is the Flourish Tunnel. And it's sort of, I think this was its second year. And yeah, it was designed so that everything was a wee bit higher, more accessible, wheelchair accessible. You can kind of just see that we've got a irrigation system just down. You can see one of the pipes here and one of the pipes there. That was an essential part. We just didn't have the manpower to be up there every day watering. So just as lockdown kicked in, we managed to get thankfully an irrigation system put in. Should say that the site is actually run off a local burn. So all the other polytunnels use natural water. It's only this tunnel where we've got the filters in the irrigation system where we've had to put in mains water. We try and make the site as renewable and as green as possible, keeping to our sort of ethos of the sort of environment and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a wonderful atmosphere when it's busy and everyone's taking part. This was also another COVID response. Again, we had some money. It's not cheap as well, this woodblock stuff, but it's incredible and robust. But one of our local jewelers sold 20 of these sort of specially designed necklaces, and they donated the first 20 that were sold profit to the community company to facilitate community growing. And at the time we had hot meals being done. Our fridge was well established. So we actually had this sort of, everything was well established and being supported by various different grants. So we had this donated money and we were trying to think, how can a lot of projects we were starting to see money would finish and boom, the supply of meals would stop. So we tried to do all of the projects that we did during COVID and during the outbreak. We wanted to make them sustainable. So we thought, right, well, we can build and create some more growing space by planting an apple orchard of sorts. So the first wee section we have here, it's a sort of hedging style, which is I would say this year really starting to form into a hedge. And then at the far end, it's a more espaliered style with some cooking apples and some ordinary apples. And then the leeks, which look incredible here, were just a sort of excess before the tree roots really established. So yeah, that's been a really great success. And hopefully this year will be our first year with lots of apples. We've had some great partnership working with primary school and our high school. All the food that they grow in their tunnel also goes to our community fridge, which is, it gives them a bit of a purpose as well. And they see we've got quite a high, particularly in our area, we've got a really high percentage of food poverty. So this introduction into providing some fresh vegetables is and was essential for many, particularly quite a few elderly folk that were also struggling as well. So yeah, we've maybe had about 6 or 7 different groups each year, usually P7s, P67s, and then high school, each also getting going through various different awards and taking part, because they are volunteering their time and they should be recognised for that. We also have our delightful. I think slightly celebrity type pigs. I think they were played at the G8 summit, which was hilarious. But yeah, we, as part of our ethos to reducing food waste, being way off in the west coast of Scotland, our waste has to travel quite far from, even just on the island itself. Our village is a 50-mile round trip to where the food, our bin lorry stops and empties. So part of our fridge is all the food that's not used. These delightful people, piglets, get to use the food at the end of the day. So we were going to do chickens. I love the idea, but we had a huge bird flu issue just as we were about to get them, and we had to abandon ship with the poor chickens. So yeah, it was a bit of we were gutted about that. So that's Sally and her offspring. Last year we had an incredible visit. We won. We were nominated, and then we won the Queen's voluntary. In fact, it was the very last one. And Princess Anne came just the day before. She had to get rushed to Balmoral to present our award, and we had an amazing day. The chappie on the right here did a bow, and Princess Anne did a bow back. It was a lovely scene. So this is mainly our flourish team, showing off all the vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. It was a good day. If any of this is inspirational to anyone starting up, feel free to get in touch. We're always happy to share. I wish we had other people that we could have bounced ideas off. I think 10 years ago there wasn't that many big projects happening. So yeah, it would be more than happy to share experiences and support.